Is up, Packer fans? Back again. It took me 2 days to make this video. The Packers suck. I still can't believe it. I was so upset and sick to my stomach for about a day. Then obviously I had to go back to work today. Horrible. Just the whole week sucks because of this Packers loss. It would have been a little bit better if we got blown out. It would have been a little bit better if it wasn't the Bears. But we had a 21-3 lead at halftime in Chicago against the Bears, and the Packers blew it. They won they lost 27-31. The Bears won. They ended up scoring 25 points in the fourth quarter after scoring 6 points in the first 3 quarters. The Packers 21-3 at halftime. They come out in the third quarter with the ball, 3 and out right away. Didn't love the play calls by LaFleur. The Packers defense played pretty good in that third quarter. They only gave up a field goal, which really, it seemed like the momentum was kind of swinging, but the defense kept making the stops when they needed to. I know they intercepted Caleb Williams twice, once in the first half. I think Valentine should have dropped it. We would have got 27 yards better field position, but cool to get an interception. I like that. Just kind of, turnovers really do make the game more favorable for the team that has more turnovers in their favor, obviously. But the Bears were able to overcome that third quarter. We just couldn't get a lot of things going. The Packers offense very stagnant. Couldn't really run the ball with Jacobs. Jacobs looked kind of sluggish, and Jordan Love was just not moving the ball like he needed to in that quarter. I didn't love the play calls like I was saying. And then the Packers defense had to make the stops and only gave up 3 points, like I said. And then the fourth quarter came. Packers still kind of sluggish. We did score a touchdown, but McManus missed the extra point. He missed a 33-yard extra point. He missed a 44-yard field goal, and he missed that 55-yard field goal before halftime. Obviously, the 55-yarder he made, and then they called timeout, and then he missed. Wish he would have had that one. Any of the field goals, the extra point, the 2 field goals, any of those, if he would have made it, that last drive for Green Bay would have been a field goal to tie or a field goal to win. But because he missed that, 7 points left off the board. Packers should have had 34, Bears 31. Would have been a lot different game if McManus made those kicks. Definitely calling for a new kicker next year. Kind of want a whole rehaul on special teams because Rich Bisaccia, highest paid special teams coordinator in the NFL, and the Packers at the bottom of kick return yardage, punt return yardage. Our punter was really good. We got the guy from Ireland. He's great. Daniel Whalen. He had a great season, led the league in punting. But that's one guy that does his job really well. And the rest of the guys, I know the coverage team is decent on the kickoffs. They kind of let Duvernay get away with some in this Bears game. So Packers definitely need to clean that up. There were some good punts, but then the punt returns were better. And so a coverage team that needs to be better. And then obviously the return game needs to be better. And then the kicker keeps missing kicks. So I don't know what to do with special teams. Obviously, if you pay a guy the most money, you expect your special teams to be one of the tops in the league, and the Packers just aren't. Keyshawn Nixon used to return kicks and be really good at it, and then they had Josh Jacobs return kicks. He had a nice kick, return the first one. The second one was pretty average, but for the most part, I don't understand why our top running back with a bad knee is returning kicks. Doesn't really make sense to me. There's got to be some other guys back there that are shiftier that might be able to make a bigger play. And then obviously, I know they wanted Jacobs to kind of get going a little bit, but just not ideal either. I don't understand that. But 25 points in the fourth quarter, the Packers defense gave up. They just could not get anything going. And then every time the Bears touched the ball, it just seemed like Loveland was catching it. I think he had over 125 yards receiving for the Bears. Something like 8 catches for the rookie. Definitely a guy that they're going to build on in the future. But the Packers, Jordan Love, 4 touchdowns. What did he have? I want to go through the stats real quick. Jordan Love, 24 of 46, so almost 50%, just over 50% completion percentage, but 323 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, and only 1 sack. So really good from him. Jacobs, 19 carries, 55 yards. Not a great day out of him with the yardage-wise, only a 2.9 carry in average. But Dobbs, 8 catches, 124 yards, and a touchdown. Golden had his best game of the season, best game since probably week 5 of this season, and he had 4 catches, 84 yards, and his first touchdown of his career of the NFL. But obviously it's a postseason stat, so it really doesn't count as a regular season stat, so he still needs to get his regular season touchdown. But then Jaden Reed, 4 catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Christian Watson, 3 catches, 36 yards, and a touchdown. Reed did drop a big one on that fourth quarter last-minute drive. Watson also could have had that one near the end zone and went through the defender's hand a little bit, so Watson's catch would have been a little bit more difficult. But Reed definitely should have had that one. I know he said that one was on him, Green Bay, but we don't blame the loss on Reed. We blame the loss on McManus mostly. But for the Packers, I mean, Matt LaFleur, I don't know. I saw some things where maybe he was coaching a little too aggressively in that second half. To me, he was coaching not to lose. And when you do that, you definitely lose, especially against a team like the Bears who, Caleb just wants to throw the ball and win. And Ben Johnson hates the Packers and he wants to beat us. So LaFleur needs to know that. He needs to figure out how he can keep the ball in crucial moments, sustain drives. I'm not sure exactly what the pieces are to the puzzle, but that's his job to figure it out. And so in that, there was that drive when McManus missed that 44-yard field goal when they were getting close, but then there was a penalty. So then it was 2nd and 15, and this is fourth quarter, about 3 minutes to go. So you run the football. He took a deep shot on second down, stops the clock, like 2:56 left in the game or whatever, and then he does the same thing on third down. He tries to take a shot, and so basically very little time came off the clock, and then McManus misses the kick. So the Bears got the ball with like 3 minutes, just under 3 minutes to go, and the Packers scored no points. To me, you run the football on 2nd and 15. You run the football on 3rd and 15. You set it up a little bit easier kick. Obviously they were trying to put the game away there. I get it. But once you have that penalty, you need to readjust, reevaluate, and just go for the game management, clock management. I just really think that LaFleur needs to play more Madden because you learn time management, clock, game situations, all those things really well in playing Madden, and it just seems like a lot of these coaches don't understand how to, work the clock and use their timeouts and understand how to run the clock at the end of the game, because the Bears were down to one timeout at that point, and if he would have ran it on second, they probably would have called the timeout, but then he ran it on third, and it basically almost takes it down to the 2-minute warning. The Bears got the ball back with almost 3 minutes to go, like I said, and Packers didn't score because McManus missed. Obviously, you would like to have him make that. You think 44 yards is pretty much a gimme. But if you would have ran it on second, ran it on third, it probably would have been a 39-yarder or even closer if Jacobs could have got a yard or two more than he had been all night. So, but just a lot of little mistakes in that second half. I just don't understand how you give up 25 points in the fourth quarter. Just a devastating, huge momentum swing back and forth. But the Packers just couldn't do enough at the end. 4 touchdowns by Love, 323 yards. You'd think that he would have won that game. But Williams was 24-48, so he was exactly 50%. He actually was the lowest completion percentage in the whole NFL throughout the whole season. But the Bears had 6 comeback from behind victories in the fourth quarter, most in league history. And then they did it again against the Packers. They weren't winning the game until there was 36 seconds left. Same thing they kind of did against us in the game when they went to overtime. But the Packers should have known the Bears were going to come back and try to make it a game at the end. They needed a sustained clock, keep the drives going, just keep the ball away from them in order for our defense to kind of get a little bit of rest and you have time to shut them down. But on defense, I really don't understand. Our defense took a step back a lot, obviously, after Micah got hurt. 0-5 the Packers were since Micah got hurt. But this defense, they play a lot of zone, obviously, to keep everything in front of them and kind of rally to the football. That's kind of the scheme. But there's all these holes in the zone where these guys are just wide open and nobody is even over there. And then when they do catch it, people don't really react the way they should. So then it becomes a bigger play than it's supposed to be. So I don't love how the defense was playing in that second half. I'm not sure if they were just kind of trying to keep things in front of them because everybody just was playing not to lose the whole time instead of being aggressive and making plays. Defense just, one sack. They did intercept Caleb twice. So we had 2 turnovers in the game. There was that one weird play where we threw it to our lineman, and he was running, he broke some tackles, and then he got stripped. I think that's Darian Killard or whatever it is, his name is. So, but he was running number 70, I think. So but then he fumbled, and then I think it got almost picked up, and then I think Dobbs smacked it out of bounds. But we didn't have any turnovers, I don't believe, in the whole game. So for Green Bay to not win this one after being up 21-3 and then forcing 2 turnovers, sacked Caleb once, but Loveland, I was right, 8 catches, 137 yards. DJ Moore 6 for 64 and a touchdown. Nunze was back 2 catches, 44 yards, and then Burden 3 catches, 42 yards. But with Caleb back there, some of those throws, I think there was a 4th down throw that he threw it up and just kind of just dropped it right into Loveland, and it was a deep pass. And you need to stop him on plays like that. The Packers defense cannot let those plays keep getting passed. Another thing that was kind of fishy, though, that I thought, the Bears had 2 penalties, 1 accepted for 5 yards total throughout the whole game. And the crew that was officiating called the most penalties per game throughout the whole season. So the Packers, I think, had 6 or 7 penalties. Bears had 1 accepted penalty. Just kind of odd. But obviously, can't blame the refs, can't blame that. The Packers did not do enough at the end to win this game. And obviously, Jordan Love did what he could. Josh Jacobs, I don't know if he was still injured or if we needed to get Wilson in there a little bit more. To me, Love played an amazing 3 quarters. Amazing 3 quarters. But you need him to know when to run for first downs and when to throw for first downs, when he needs to make a play, when things need to happen. And that's why I almost would have put Malik Willis in that fourth quarter, just because his scrambling ability, his ability to kind of make something out of nothing with his feet, his awareness to get first downs and to just be a playmaker. And sometimes Jordan Love, when he's got guys on his face, just seems to panic a little bit too much and not be able to make a play. And I think that in a crucial situation like that, I hate pulling Love out. I love him for the first 3 quarters, but I think Malik would have won us that game at the end just because of how he plays the game and his ability to make something out of nothing and use his feet. I definitely think that would have been instrumental to kind of sustaining some of those drives at the end, just because we were so stated in that third quarter. 3 and outs. And then going into the fourth quarter, just you could feel the momentum switching. And it was only, I think they scored right into the oh, now it's all messed up. I think they scored right into the fourth quarter, but they had only scored 3 points, and it was 21-6 going into the fourth quarter. The Packers then scored again, obviously, but that was after the Bears had scored. But it just kind of, you could feel the momentum switching, and the Packers needed to do something to kind of get something going there, and that's what I would have done, is thrown Malik in there, maybe just for a few plays, just to change it up. You could still have Love come back in there, but just to kind of, when you need a play made on maybe a scramble like a 2nd and 9 or something, you need some yardage, you need to get ahead of the sticks, 2nd and 10, just something to give the offense a little spark, and a guy that can make something out of nothing with his legs. Love can do it a little bit. Obviously, he's 6'4", 220, a lot bigger guy, a little bit slower than Malik. And Malik's still shiftier, and we all know what he can do. So just something I would have thought about if I was LaFleur. I know you don't want to pull out your $55 million quarterback. You pay him for situations like this. But he got you to that moment, and now you put in a guy that can kind of do a little more with his legs and kind of sustain those drives when you need to most. But obviously, Packers didn't do that. They lost. What was it? 31-27. So 4-point loss. If McManus would have made any of those kicks, even that extra point, he missed a 33-yard extra point. I think I could make a 33-yard extra point. The 44-yarder would be probably about my range, right outside the range. But 55-yarder, he made the first one. That's kind of hit or miss. We kind of got lucky at the end of the half to even get in range for a field goal. So not a big deal there. But in this second half, in a game where you're leading and you have to kind of keep adding on points, you can't miss extra points. You can't miss 44-yard field goals. Anything within 50 you have to make. I don't see McManus being here next year. I think LaFleur is going to get the contract. I did hear some of that, so he should be Packers head coach next year. We're going to get Micah Parsons back. We're going to get Elkin Jenkins back. We're going to get Tucker Kraft back. There's a lot of guys that are going to be free agents, though. Romeo Doubs, Quay Walker, I think Devontae Wyatt, actually, so hopefully we get him back. And then there's a lot of other players also. Brenton Cox, who I also like, and then there's a lot of other guys. Emmanuel Wilson, I think, becomes a free agent this year, so the backup running back. But there's just a lot of pieces. But hopefully, guys like Marshawn Lloyd can come get healthy this offseason, come back and be, kind of like our Jahmyr Gibbs next year for the Lions guys. So Marshawn Lloyd is really shifty, quick. He can kind of bring that piece to the puzzle that the Packers might really, really like to, explore on the field. So a lot of things are going to change this offseason. Packers definitely did not have the season they thought they would. They were 9-7-1 and lost to the Wildcard to the Bears. Just not the season that they wanted. Losing Micah was huge, obviously. Losing the center. because then Sean Ryan went down against the Bears in this playoff game, and then Lascivious something, I think his name is, came in, and Lascivious or something, and he came in at center. And that last play where we were hoping to get, I think we had 7 seconds left, we were hoping to get 2 plays out of that. Maybe throw it with have 1 second left on the clock for the last snap, use 6 seconds on the first play, and then have 1 second left. try to take a shot. But the snap was bad. It was on the ground. Love had to kind of, make something out of nothing. And I don't know what was going on in the end zone. He was trying to direct traffic, but by the time he threw it, it seemed like he wasn't even close enough in the end zone. Should have just threw kind of a Hail Mary, hoped somebody got it. But it didn't even seem like it really had a chance, and then kind of got batted around. But not the ideal play. But anyway, so we lost our center, Elkin Jenkins, and then Sean Ryan got hurt in that last drive of the Bears game, and then our third string center came in. So getting these guys healthy for next year. Obviously, there's going to be injuries next year, but we need guys like Lucas Van Ness to step up. We need Jordan Morgan to really kind of solidify himself on that offensive line. I don't know if a guy like Sean Ryan's going to be back. I think this is a contract year for him as well. But there's going to be a lot of changes, and maybe Halfley might be gone. We'll see if he gets a head coach job. I don't think he really deserves it. I like him as a coach. I love how he talks. I like some of the things he does. But Packers defense just wasn't that good this year, and they regressed since last year, even with getting Micah. I know he was out for 5 games, but even with Micah out or in, the Packers defense still wasn't where they needed to be in all the games that they played. So a lot of changes coming. LaFleur should be back. Got to get guys healthy, and we'll see what they do. We don't have our first-round draft pick this year or next year because we traded it for Micah, and so we'll be really, searching deep into the draft for some diamonds in the rough to really help this Packers team. And I think that, they'll bounce back. Everybody will have another year under their belt. And I think they're going to want that revenge against the Bears for sure. But Caleb is a playmaker. He is a player. You got to give him a little bit of credit because obviously he makes it happen. And as much as the Bears still suck, you got to give the kid credit for how he plays. So go Packers. Thanks for watching, you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace out. Go Pack Go. See you next year. Go Packers. Peace.